Showtime series seeks to remake a 1976 classic that starred the late David Bowie. It's called The Man Who Fell to Earth. Now, this adaptation takes place 40 to 45 years after the original movie, and it has an international, diverse, and award-winning cast. Here's just part of the plot. It's about a new alien character who arrives on Earth at a turning point in human evolution, and now must confront his own past to determine our future. We're going to bring in the expert to discuss this with us. It's the man who fell to earth himself, Oscar and Golden Globe nominated actor Chiwetel Ejiofor. Welcome to Great Day Washington. How have you been?
Oh, very well, very well. Great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We mentioned the 1976 film. For people who are big fans of that film, what will they expect going in, as they know so much about this movie already? What can they expect from the series?
Well, it's a continuation in a way from the film, from the '76 film and the and the book. It sort of starts. It takes place 45 years afterwards, so a sequel of sorts, and we pick up the story. The character that David Bowie played, Thomas Jerome Newton, is in this world as well, and played by Bill Nighy. And so he is the first alien, and then my character Faraday comes from the same planet, Anthea. And his first task is to try and find this very, very brilliant scientist, played by Naomi Harris, Justin Falls, and then he's trying to save his planet, save Anthea from total destruction, and along the way trying to save Earth as well.
Wow. Chiwetel, you've played so many deep, interesting characters. I feel like you've covered a wide range. What was it like to be an alien? What was that process like? I know you really like to get into your characters. What was that studying like?
Yeah, it was fascinating. You can only, in the end, you can only really play your own alien. It sort of sounds weird, but you can, it's the only one you really know. And so you kind of end up having to figure out the times when you yourself have felt slightly alien, that you're kind of on the outside looking in. And, we've all had those kinds of experiences, some of them quite profound and broad, some of them sort of nuanced and detailed, but we all have those experiences. Even if it's our first day at school, we have those experiences. And so for me, it was a question of really mining that for me, where in my life I felt a little bit of this kind of fish out of water syndrome, and playing Faraday with that energy.
Yeah, I love how much you brought David Bowie back into it as well. As each episode's titled after one of his songs, right? Who thought of that great idea?
Well, that I'd have to give credit to Alex Kurtzman and Jenny Lumet, who co-wrote and are the co-showrunners of the project. And Alex directed, a number of the episodes very brilliantly. And so, we always wanted to really center, I think, David Bowie's legacy in this. Such an iconic figure, and in this role, which is one of his first screen roles, he just created such an extraordinary character. I remember watching it and not being able to kind of rip my eyes away from the performance he gave, which was phenomenal. So it was an excellent sort of launch pad to try to expand this story and to expand the kind of this world of these characters.
Yeah. Chiwetel, whenever I get ready for an interview, I always go look at your social media to ask you a few questions about what you've been up to. I couldn't find your social media, and I went through many of your interviews and said, oh, that's why. Do you still not have social media? And what's that life, that wonderful life like?
Yeah, that's me being an alien again. I don't. I never. Yeah. I may be one of those few people. I just never jumped into all of it.
Good for you.
I always like to keep things a tiny bit private, I suppose, and just different sides of my life, reserved for myself and close-knit people alone, really. So it never totally appealed to me, that world, actually.
Yeah. Doing my deep dive, then I watched so many of your interviews. I found out you lived on a houseboat. Do you still live on a houseboat? You said you did for at least a period of time there, right? In 2019.
That's true. Yeah, okay. I still have a houseboat. I don't live there permanently anymore. I did for a little bit of time. It's very interesting living. It's a great way to live. I did it for probably about a year, sort of solidly, and now it's pretty much sort of recreational having the houseboat. but it was it's interesting. It's tough. It's minimal. It's a minimalist kind of way of living, and that can be quite well, it can be quite good in the world that we live in, the kind of fast-paced world we live in. It was nice to kind of slow down for a while, but I did miss some of the creature comforts, I have to confess.
Well, I'm sure. I feel like you have such a fascinating life. I also have to tell you, our production assistant standing right here says she is a huge fan. She wants to tell you hello and thank you for all of your great work, she says.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today, Chiwetel. We appreciate it.
Real pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, you've got to go check it out. It is The Man Who Fell to Earth. It's going to be on Showtime starting on Sunday. Go check it out.